Okay, so a couple of people have requested a little guide to workflow with the new ProRes Raw files. I'm afraid this is the first time I've ever recorded something like this, so you're going to have to deal with me being really sucky at it. I recorded some stuff on the Panasonic Eva ones with the Shogun Inferno, but I guess a lot of this will also apply to any other raw camera that you might record to the Shogun Inferno in ProRes Raw, for example, the Sony FS5 or the FS700. Anyway, let's get started. So I've already opened up Final Cut Pro. I've already created a new project or a new library, ProRes, calling it ProRes Raw Tutorial, and the very first thing you need to do is click on it, go to the inspector, and modify the settings, because the standard color processing setting is standard and you need a wide gamut HDR. Definitely, if you don't do that, then the grading controls go a bit wonky, and I suspect there might be issues with exporting log files from it as well. So let's go ahead and change that. Next thing to do is to import some ProRes Raw media, and hope that your computer doesn't slow down because you're trying to do screen capture at the same time. But it seems to. Okay, so I've already shot a little bit on this thing on raw test. I've been shooting a lot of tests. Here you can see I deliberately shot some stuff that is massively overexposed and has totally wonky color temperature. So let's just import those clips, and you'll immediately see that the FCPX automatically gives it a look. If you click on each individual file and click on the inspector, you'll see two things come up. One is a raw to log conversion, where you get to pick what log, how it's going to be debayed into which log and color space. Use these ones, so Panasonic log makes sense, but you also get your camera lookup table, which converts that log to something more like Rec 709. If you select none, then you'll get to see the very standard log-like look. Okay, so now you've got you've debayed the ProRes Raw as a log video. You can, if you like, just be done with FCPX and export it to using another editing program, Premiere or Avid or Sony Edius or whatever. The other things that I don't know about. Or indeed, if you want to grade it in another program like Resolve or Filmlight, that's an option too, and it's easy enough to do. You just, once you have your clip selected, the whole of it, go to File, Share, Master File, and all the time you'll have all your settings here. You can share it full resolution, you can downscale or whatever. I mean, I think if you're sharing at the full resolution, I personally think ProRes 422 HQ is going to be good enough for you. I don't think you're going to be losing any data there, because you've got a bare sensor that's going to be debayed anyway. So you could go for 444, but you know, essentially the debay is still going to be making up the missing color channels. So I suspect all you're doing is making yourself a much bigger file. So I would do it as ProRes HQ. Click next. And yeah, there you go. I already exported it. And yeah, and there we go. One thing that is worth noting is if you have a series of clips that you want to export, you do not have the option of doing more than one at once. You can select them all if you like, and when you go to share, everything is grayed out. You cannot do batch processing at all. If you have a series of clips, you have to go through the same process for every single one of them. I mean, you can select all and carry out the, turn off the lookup to turn off and on the lookup table on all the clips, so that saves you a little bit of time. But when it comes to actually setting them up as an export, you have to individually collect them, individually go to the share, thing, individually select master file, individually check settings, individually click next, and save again. I'm sorry, but that is just how it is. Anyway, now that we've done that, let's move over to Resolve, and I'll take you through quickly how to set up in Resolve, although it's basically exactly the same process as any log file from either one or your favorite camera. It's just standard log grading. But let's take a look at that as well. First things that I would do is set my project settings. So just for fun, let's do a 4K DCI setting, and color management. Personally, I like to use ACES for anything the Eagle one because I find that it gives the best result, and it also makes it very, very easy to make exposure changes. So when you're using ACES, you need to set your input device transforms, which basically means you need to tell Resolve what camera you're using, and the Panasonic Vericam 35 input device transform works perfectly well with the Eagle one because they share the same color time, and you need to tell it what you're going to output as. So, for example, Rec 709 or do Rec 2020 or D65 or sRGB or whatever you fancy, whatever your delivery points are. Save that, and yep, 24 frames per second. Anything else? That's 23.76. Once you've done that, the first thing to do is import your footage. So let me just navigate to where I put that in. Where is that? There we go. Oops, no. Yeah. There we go. So that's the file, the 5K file that we exported. We have here. You can't see it here. See, it's 5K, 5.7K. Interesting. What you'll see here is that you don't, because we're using ACES, it already gives you the Rec 709 look. So you want to drag your clips into the timeline. Yep, there it is. If you want to have a look to see how it looked in the work thing, just check Rec 709, your color space, and you can see it's the same log file. We're just using what is in effect a fancy lookup table to bring it to show you what they're doing. 35. There we go. And that's it. I mean, the beauty about ACES is how easy it is to do the exposure adjustment. You literally just drag it up and down on the offset button, and you get your exposure adjustments as you want it. And that's it, you know. Your grade is everything else. And I have to say that the data you get out is pretty much the same as the raw data. It's all there. As you can see, it was very overexposed, and the only thing is that tiny shiny spot on my forehead that's clipping, and that's clipping in the raw. And I can tell you that if I recorded CD and GE, that was clipping in the raw too for that comparison. Anyway, once you're done with your grade, go to deliver, and deliver however you want. Now, the thing is, if you want, you don't have to grade in Resolve. You can grade the raw directly in FCPX if you like. And I'll just move back to FCPX and have a look at some basic, grading of the raw footage there. Okay, so here we are back in Resolve. Here we are back in FCPX. First thing you need to do is set your project, give it a name. Let's go set your project settings, however you want it to be, 4K, whatever, 2K. Time rate, color space, you can go for the standard Rec 709, or you can create like an HDR, it's Rec 2020 hybrid log camera, or wide gamut Rec 2020 HDR project if you need to deliver HDR. Anyway, once you've created your project, first thing is stick it in, stick your clip in, and you'll see that it's overexposed, but the corrections are fairly simple if you just go to the color wheels. So you've got your master shadows and highlights, and both as wheels or just as sliders, and yeah, you just slide it down, and there you can see that all the information is there. And that's it. You can start grading, you can grade the wheels, you can grade the curves, however you want to use it. I think someone else, you should probably watch some tutorials if you want to see. But again, you can see that, as I said, that all the information was there in the log file, apart from that tiny bit that's clipped on my forehead. Yeah, so I don't think you're losing too much if you're exporting to ProRes. The one thing that I wanted to show you was the reason why I made these crazy clips, and that's to say that with the Evil One, white balance is, even though it's raw, white balance is baked into the raw, and that means that there is a point where you can't practically recover the imagery. There is a point where you reach where you're losing information. You can see here that it's not entirely possible to recover in the same way as here. You can see that maybe there's a little bit more clipping on the nose and on the cheek here, that over here the cheek isn't quite clipped, I don't think. Maybe it is, but you're definitely losing stuff with the wrong white balance. I mean, it was pretty extreme. It was like about 6,000 Kelvin outside, and the white balance was set to 2,000 Kelvin, so you have to be fairly wrong. I mean, you can obviously, there's a lot you can correct, but this is the better one, because this is 15,000 Kelvin, and you'll see immediately the problem is that white balance was so off that there is literally there is no red in there. That's the problem. You can see the red channel was totally clipped. It was totally crushed and that's purely because of the white balance setting on the camera. That wasn't the light, and you can see the consequence of that is that there is no red to recover. You cannot. You try as you might, you're not going to be able to get that image back. So yeah, things to remember with the RAW, and this isn't just ProRes RAW. This is exactly the same with Cinema DNG. I did the same test with Cinema DNG. It's like the white balance is definitely baked in. You are going to be losing a little bit of information, a little bit of channel information as a consequence of that. And the best thing to do is to try and get your white balance as close to right as possible. That's how it goes. That's the nature of RAW on the Evil One, I'm afraid. But yeah, I mean, the flip side is that there is ridiculous amounts of data there. The latitude is pretty extraordinary, and you can still make some pretty extreme exposure adjustment, color temperature adjustments as needed if you do. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do was show you what happens if you have this setting wrong, if you forget to overfill or wide gamut color processing, and basically it's as simple as the exposure adjustments just don't work quite as easily as they do with the wide gamut HDR. It's just not quite as easy to grade it. And so if you're having trouble, that will probably be why. The problem is, the other thing I found is if you suddenly remember it and you swap it in, it still doesn't, I don't know, this is a bit off. It's almost like you have to start again. You have to delete everything from the project, drag it in, and start again before you can get the controls back.